While taking a leak, a man happened to glance over and saw a golden rock. He quickly walked over to take a closer look and was lost in thought. Could it be? Had he actually discovered gold? He glanced at his partner nearby, then back at the stone. After a moment's thought, he decided to call his partner over. At first, his friend was confused, but when he saw the rock, he couldn't believe his eyes. To see if it was real, he tried burning it with a lighter. After all, real gold can withstand fire. When the stone showed no signs of turning black, they were certain they had truly found gold. The man never imagined that a simple bathroom break would make him a billionaire. The two of them didn't dare. A second, they grabbed their tools and started digging, terrified someone else might come by. They had no idea the nugget was this massive. They dug non-stop for 7 or 8 hours and still couldn't see the whole thing. The partner was getting impatient and wanted to try lifting it out with the man. But even with all their strength, they only managed to leave a few handprints on it. Then, he had another idea. Much better idea. We have the truck. Its winch is strong enough to pull an elephant, so this little piece of gold should be no problem. But the rope snapped and the rock didn't even budge. Seeing this, his partner was absolutely furious. The gold was right in front of them, yet they were helpless. With no other choice, he started digging again, muttering under his breath. The two of them continued for several more hours, but still hadn't reached the bottom. They realized this wasn't just a nugget, it was a gold mine. As it started to get dark, the partner decided they should rest for a while. That night, as they ate, the thought of becoming billionaires made it impossible to contain their joy. A gold mine this huge, they couldn't spend it all in 10 lifetimes. But the problem now was how to get it out. His partner thought for a moment, and then made a suggestion. One of them would go to town to find an excavator, while the other stayed behind to guard it. He felt the man lacked the wilderness survival experience to stay and guard the gold. Besides, there were vicious wild dogs around. He definitely couldn't handle them. But with such a massive fortune at stake, the man no longer trusted his partner. He argued that his partner was more familiar with the area and better suited to find an excavator in town. The partner tried to explain, but the man gave him no chance. He was adamant about staying to guard the gold. Seeing how insistent he was, his partner had no choice but to agree. After all, he knew the man was a stranger here and couldn't possibly move the gold by himself. That's why he felt safe agreeing. The round trip would take at least 4 days, so he left him with just enough water and food for those 4 days. Before leaving, he made sure to remind the man not to let anyone else discover this spot and promised he would be back with the excavator as soon as possible. He left him a satellite phone so they could stay in touch and then drove off. But little did the man know, this was all part of his partner's scheme. After watching until he was sure his partner was truly gone, he reburied the gold. Then, he set up a simple shelter nearby. To make sure his partner hadn't tricked him, he tried making a call with the phone. Hearing the automated voice on the other end, the man finally relaxed. To protect himself from the wild dogs, he gathered some dry branches. At night, he lit a large fire. This would keep them away for a while, but if the fire went out, the pack would likely attack. So he had to stay alert at all times. The next day, he woke up around noon, groggy, realizing he had miraculously survived the night. Just as he was about to wash his hands after relieving himself, it suddenly occurred to him, if his partner didn't make it back within 4 days, this water would be his only hope of survival. He'd have to make do without washing. Just then, the phone suddenly rang. The man didn't even have time to pull up his pants as he scrambled over, terrified of missing his partner's good news. But he was a step too late. The call ended. Although the conditions here were brutal, when he looked at the glittering gold, the man felt it was all worthwhile. As he was gathering firewood for the night, he suddenly saw something glinting in the distance. Could it be another piece of gold? He didn't dare get his hopes up. His luck couldn't possibly be that good. Filled with curiosity, he went to check it out. It turned out to be a crashed airplane. It had most likely been brought down by a sandstorm. While it wasn't gold, it could serve as a temporary shelter. But then he realized it would take him too far from the gold. So, he quickly abandoned that idea. Instead, he tore off pieces of the fuselage and brought the fragments back to upgrade his simple shelter. This way, he could fend off the wild dogs and keep a close eye on the gold. It was the perfect solution. However, under the baking sun, the inside quickly turned into an oven. He had no choice but to step outside for some air. Looking at the gold beside him, the man's heart filled with excitement. He never thought that a simple trip out west would lead to such an incredible discovery. Even a small piece of it would be enough to set him up for the rest of his life. He grabbed a rock and broke off a piece from the very top. Staring at the chunk of gold, which was even bigger than his own head, the man felt like this must all be a dream. Just then, the phone beside him rang, snapping him back to reality. He assumed it was his partner, calling to say he was on his way back. But instead, his partner told him that he'd been pushing the truck too hard and the engine had overheated and died. It was still being repaired, so he might not make it back in 4 days. He told the man to just hang on a little longer. Hearing this, the man started to panic. The water and food he had would only last 4 days. How was he supposed to survive? But then he thought of the gold, and nothing else mattered. At night, the wild dogs were howling all around, making it impossible for him to get any sleep. He could only hold a torch and constantly try to drive them away. After thinking for a long time, the man decided his shelter wasn't sturdy enough. How was he supposed to survive? But then he thought of the gold, and nothing else mattered. And now the wild dogs were howling all around, making it impossible for him to get any sleep. He'd only hold a torch and constantly try to drive it away. I was thinking for a long time, the man decided his shelter wasn't sturdy enough. Get any sleep? He could only hold a torch and constantly try to drive drive them away. After thinking for a long time, the man decided his shelter wasn't sturdy enough. So the next day, he went back to the crashed plane, planning to get more fragments to reinforce it. But just then, a woman appeared in the distance. To prevent her from finding out about the gold, he quickly hid. But it seemed the woman had already spotted him. She walked directly over and knocked on the fuselage. Seeing this, the man quickly pretended he was looking for something. Noticing how nervous he was, as if terrified of seeing another person, the woman grew suspicious. To keep the gold a secret, the man told her he was just stranded here, waiting for his friend to rescue him. But she only told him it was a shelter in a waterhole just 5 kilometers away. So why on earth are you staying here? I'm burning you leaving the ball by Seeing the constant flicker in his eyes, she became even more certain that this man was hiding a secret. She immediately started walking quickly towards his camp. Seeing this, the man immediately ran to block her way. But the woman wasn't so easily fooled. As he walked away, she followed close behind, constantly asking if he was running from something. The man couldn't take it anymore. He confronted her, yelling for her to leave or else he'd use force. The woman didn't buy his act for a second. She was determined to see his camp. The man, weakened by prolonged dehydration, was losing his strength. He tried to chase her, but couldn't keep up. He could only watch helplessly as she reached his shelter. She was looking all around as she spoke. To keep her from discovering the gold, the man, Zug, grabbed a wooden club and struck the woman hard on the head. But when he saw her bleeding profusely and realized she was dead, he was overcome with fear. He hadn't even gotten the gold yet, and now he was a murderer. After calming down, he found a place to bury her body. He was lucky enough to find her water and food, but he didn't expect that just minutes after burying the woman's body, the local pack of wild dogs would catch the scent of blood. So if they followed the trail right to her, his conscience wouldn't let him stand by, so the man grabbed a shovel and charged at them. No matter what, he had to at least protect her. After driving the pack away, he chose to cremate the woman, hoping her soul could find peace. After all that, the man uncovered the gold once more. He looked at it, wondering if he could hold on any longer. The next day at noon, his partner finally called again. He answered the phone, his voice almost a sob. He was expecting good news, but instead, his partner told him he'd have to wait for a few more days. Hearing this, the man couldn't control his emotions any longer. He should have listened to his partner and let him be the one to guard the gold. But just then, a truck appeared in the distance. He quickly hung up the phone and hid. Luckily, the truck was just passing through and didn't notice him. But what came next was true despair. As the man was preparing for the night, a massive sandstorm swept in with incredible force. He was startled away, terrified. He scrambled into his shelter, but a flimsy hut made of a few plane fragments was no match for a storm like this. Soon, the pieces were torn away one by one. In the end, even the tree he had depended on was blown over. When the man woke up again, a thick tree branch had pierced straight through his body, but he completely ignored his injury, desperately searching for the location of the gold. Perhaps that was his only reason for staying alive, but without the tree as a reference point, he couldn't determine its exact location. The man crawled on the ground for a long time, eye bleeding, before he finally, painstakingly, found it. The moment his hand touched it, his anxious heart was finally put at ease. It was only then that he remembered his own injury. With a grimace, he pulled the branch out of his body, then bandaged himself up as best he could. Finally, he used a red-hot piece of metal to cauterize the wound. But in the end, the injury was too severe, and he fainted. When he woke up, he began to hallucinate. He kept feeling that the woman he killed was wandering nearby. Just then, his partner called. When he heard that someone else had been there, he instantly flew into a rage. He started screaming at the man, completely ignoring his desperate situation. Just then, a person who looked identical to the woman appeared before his eyes. It turned out they were identical twins. The woman was looking for her sister. She said she'd come here and then vanished without a trace. Hearing this, the man started to panic. He immediately shouted at her to get away, but the woman was just concerned about his wound. Out of kindness, she offered to take him to the shelter to get it treated. Seeing his hostile attitude, she didn't press the issue and turned to leave. Once the woman was gone, the man finally relaxed. But when he awoke from unconsciousness again, fires had been inexplicably lit all around him. Seeing that the man was wounded, the wild dog pack could no longer hold back. They prepared to attack. He quickly called his partner for help. What he never expected was that his partner was right there, on a nearby hillside. It turned out he had already returned with the excavator, but instead of coming down, he'd found a place with a clear view and was watching everything unfold below. No matter how desperately the man pleaded for help on the phone, his partner remained completely indifferent. Ever since the man discovers the gold, his partner had been plotting how to get rid of him. He knew that if he made that suggestion, his partner would definitely choose to stay behind and guard the gold. That's just human nature. Then, by only giving him 4 days worth of supplies, all he had to do was come back and quietly wait. Wait until he couldn't hold on any longer, and the wild dogs would naturally seize the opportunity to attack. In the end, he could have the gold all to himself without anyone ever knowing. Looking at the man's mangled corpse, his partner felt not an ounce of pity. His eyes saw only the glittering gold, but he was unaware that while the mantis stalks the cicada, the oriole is waiting just behind.